Keeping Up with Jones, the Lonnie Jones podcast adventure. I am your host, Lonnie Jones. My wife Jackie and I moved to the city of Huntsville in 1986 for me to be a youth and family minister. I have been a minister since 1980. I have served in this community as a police chaplain assigned to a SWAT team since 1992, and I've been in private practice as a licensed professional counselor since 1998. I'm also an adventure educator and an avid outdoorsman. I dabble in rock climbing and I goof around with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Our life has been full of many wonderful experiences and some just outright adventures. I used to write about those things in a little church bulletin article. So now instead of asking you to read those things, we're just going to talk about them in our podcast. And as we talk about them, we're going to talk about the facts. The facts lead to concepts, and the concepts lead to application. One caveat about the facts is, for the most part, we're going to tell you the facts just as they happened. But every now and then, we're going to tell you the way other people have told us they remember it happening with a little bit of embellishment. It's all good, clean fun and for educational purposes. Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoy Keeping Up with Jones. Faulkner University announces a 60% tuition discount for members of the Church of Christ. Now, there are some guidelines. This 60% tuition reduction is applicable to adult undergraduate Bible degrees or graduate Bible degrees from the Curley Graduate School of Theology in the VP Black College of Biblical Studies. You must satisfy all admission requirements and maintain satisfactory academic progress. You must remain continuously enrolled, including summers, until the completion of the degree. You must provide a letter from an elder or minister, preferably on church letterhead, verifying that you're an active member of a Church of Christ congregation prior to your initial enrollment. This offer applies to adult undergraduate degrees such as biblical studies, youth and family ministry tracks, and it also includes graduate degrees. Those are the Master of Arts in Biblical Studies, the Master of Arts in Family Life Ministry, or a Master of Theology, and it also applies to the PhD in Biblical Studies. For undergraduate inquiries, please contact Adult Enrollment, 334-386-7140, 334-386-7140, or Adult Enrollment at Faulkner edu. That is Adult Enrollment at faulkner.edu. For graduate inquiries, please call 334-386-7539, 334-386-7539. Graduate enrollment at faulkner.edu. That is graduate enrollment at faulkner.edu. Faulkner University is a sponsor of Keeping Up with Jones, the Lonnie Jones podcast adventure. TKM Incorporated in Moss, Tennessee is a construction company that specializes in erosion control, seeding, and soil, hydroseeding, hydromulch, minor excavation, and silt fence. They also provide traffic control and construction signs. Their business is keeping people safe, but their passion, their mission, is they wish that all men could be saved. TKM has adopted the nickname the King's Men because as they serve you, they also serve the King. If they could provide any of their services for you, please contact them at 931-243-3958. That is 931-243-3958. Or you can contact them on the net at tkminc2001 at twlakes.net. That is tkminc2001 at twlakes.net. TKM Incorporated is a sponsor of Keeping Up with Jones, the Lonnie Jones podcast adventure. IYKYK. That's cool tech social media young person speech for if you know, you know. It's an abbreviation to indicate that a statement or a piece of content is intended for a specific audience who will understand the reference without any further explanation. In essence, it's a way of acknowledging shared knowledge or experience within a particular group. If you know, then you're in the club. If you know, means you've had the experience. If you know. But the first time I saw it, I had to look it up because I didn't know. It was a simple picture. It was a picture on Facebook, and it was posted by a bodyguard, and he was the bodyguard for a rapper. He was the guy who contained the shooter off Governor's Drive after being shot in the face and neck by a shotgun. Quite an operator, and he retired from our police department and now has a very thriving career as a personal bodyguard. He posted a picture of an off-carry bag. It's a little backpack messenger type bag that you see dudes wearing, and they often contain means of self-defense. This particular little bag had one of those little rope men that I make, a 550 guy, or the tactical talisman, wedged into one of the molly loops on the bag. And that's all it was. It was just a simple picture of the bag, the 550 guy, and the letters IYKYK. I looked it up because I didn't know, but it turns out I did know. Because the little bag with the picture of the little man and the letters IYKYK was, if you know, and it turns out I know. I know what the bag holds, and I know the story and the stories associated with guys who carry bags like that. And I know the stories associated with the guys who have little rope men hanging from their mirrors, antennas, backpacks, worn in cargo pockets, and sitting on various shelves. If you know, I see it everywhere. As deer season approaches, you'll see a picture of a trail cam at night. And in this nighttime picture, you'll see this shooter buck, and you'll just see the letters IYKYK. You see a picture of an arrow on the ground, slick with blood, IYKYK. It's all the pictures, inside jokes, inside knowledge, and the things that we are tuned into that make us feel like we are in the club or part of a group, or at least that there are people we understand, and then there are people out there who understand us. It's very similar to the t-shirt that reads, there are two types of people in the world: those who can extrapolate from incomplete data, ... That, anyway, I wasn't hip enough to know what it meant. So I looked it up, and once I learned, it turned out that I really did know what I knew. What's got me on the subject today is that just down from my office, a lawyer has bought a billboard. Now, it's not Alexander Shannara. You'd be surprised that there are billboards left for lawyers based on Mr. Shannara's proliferation of billboards. But this guy's trying to be like him. It's huge. It's obnoxiously yellow. And the solicitor's picture is on there, and the letters IYKYK and an asterisk. Then at the bottom of the sign with the corresponding asterisk, you have the explanation spelled out. If you know, you know. Well, if I have to spell it out, then IGYDK, I guess you didn't know. You really didn't know, did you? Because if I have to spell it out, if I have to explain what the letters mean, then you don't know. Maybe it should have read IYDYKYDK. If you don't know, you don't know. Or maybe DYKYDK. You don't know, you don't know. Maybe it's just me. But in my mind, it's ridiculous to advertise if you know, and then have to explain what if you know means. That just means you think your people didn't know. Maybe it should be YDK. You don't know, you don't know. Okay, I don't know. It's okay to admit you don't know. It's okay to know what others know. It's okay to know what others don't know. And it's okay that other people know and you don't. The problem is that there are some things you don't need to know. There are things I wish I didn't know. IYKYK, and my wife hates the phrase, but IYKYK is really not about intellectual stuff. No one puts up E equals MC squared and then IYKYK. Nobody puts up pi r squared or A squared plus B squared equals C squared and then IYKYK. Those are not things that if you know, you know. Those fall into the category of this is known. IYKYK isn't about facts. It's about shared experience. It's not about the learned, but the initiated. It's not just knowledge, but the ability to acknowledge the shared experience. There are some things you can't learn from a book. There are some things you can't learn from a class, a movie, or even a podcast. Loving, being loved, loss, grief, betrayal, triumph, failure, losing, being hurt, recuperation, rehabilitation, relief, nearly dying, watching someone die. It amazes me that people come to my office and they describe the things that they think no one else knows or experiences. I hear them describe the loss and the tragedy and the fear and the difficulty, and it's so tempting to say, let me tell you a story. Because you are not alone. Someone else knows. You're not the only one. But as it happens in our pain, we feel alone. In our fear, we feel isolated. It struck me as very humorous one time that I had just left the gym. I was teaching a self-defense class, the defensive tactics class that they let me teach at the police academy. And I'd been wrestling a dude that would field dress about 320 pounds. And I had managed to get out from under him and isolate one of his legs. And I grabbed his ankle. And in order to submit him, I did an Aoki lock. And as I did the Aoki lock, I was had his leg trapped, and I had to expand my rib cage to get the torque on his leg. And it so happened his heel had popped one of my ribs out of place. Well, I changed clothes and I went back to work. The very next client to come in, this guy was sitting in my office. He had slept wrong and had a crick in his neck. And he was complaining about how difficult his life was and about how difficult his day was because he'd spent the entire day with this discomfort of the crick in his neck. He had no idea I was sitting there listening to him complain, and I had a broken rib. It's not the thing you share in therapy. There is a bond in knowing. There is a bond in being known. And there is a bond in sharing. There is a bond between the initiates of love, loss, pain, grief, loneliness, and fear. There is a strong bond between the graduates of the school of suffering and those who graduate the university of adversity. And there's a link that binds the victorious. If you know, is extremely powerful. We cheat ourselves when we don't want others to know or let others know because we don't think they could possibly know, understand, or accept us if they knew about us. The problem is it's not that we cheat ourselves when they don't know about us. It's that when we don't disclose, we don't know about them. And then we don't have the if you know bond. If we talked to people, if we listened more closely to people, we might understand that they understand. Or they might understand that we understand. The true power of listening is really not to solve the problem, but to simply connect with the person in the midst of the crisis. That connection, the rapport, if you will, is rooted in empathy. When our capacity for empathy is genuine, then you don't have to put an asterisk and explain IYKYK. When the empathy is genuine, when we listen and we respond with empathy, you will see the look in the other person's face. You will see a physical change. You'll see something that's noticeable in their countenance. It will be a visible change, and the look in their eyes says, oh, IDKYK. I didn't know you knew. Once that happens, Once that connection is made, even though I may not be able to fix it, stop the pain, or relieve the stress, you don't feel as lost. You don't feel as alone. You don't feel as helpless, and you don't feel without hope, because you know, I know. Using the tool of shortwave radio, World Christian Broadcasting literally covers the world every day with the gospel. They use 2 large curtain antennas. One is located in Anchor Point, Alaska, and the other in Madagascar. They send out messages that are recorded at their international home in Franklin, Tennessee. They make available 40 hours of broadcast every day. The broadcasts are made in English, Chinese, Russian, Spanish, Portuguese, Korean, English for Africa, and Arabic. They would love for your group to visit them. You can bring your ladies group, your youth group, or your men's group. Just give them a call at 615-371-8707, 615-371-8707, or you can go to 3Ws and a dot, worldchristian.org, find the Donate Here button, and make a financial contribution to support this work that literally covers the world every day with the gospel. World Christian Broadcasting, in cooperation with Keeping Up with Jones, the Lonnie Jones podcast adventure.